for another edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. I'm Gino Buccola alongside my good friend Scott Shapiro as we get you ready for a big weekend up at Woodbine. Scott, up at Woodbine in Toronto, Canada, they have one of their biggest days of racing of the year. It's the King's Plate, which is comparable to the Kentucky Derby here for the horses in America. This is a race that's actually restricted to horses that are Canadian bred 3-year-olds. And Scott, it is the longest running continuous thoroughbred race in North America. This is going to be the 166th renewal of this race this year. It's a pretty big field lined up. We got a lot of work for this race.
A lot of work to do. I learned a couple of years ago, it's Queen's Plate at times. It's the King's Plate at times.
Yep.
Kind of got fooled thinking it was another race. Kind of a story for another day, but we got a lot of horses to get to here.
So before we jump on in, we want to remind everybody about the new feature that I think will fit a lot of you horse players out there, especially if you're someone who's maybe a hardcore sports betting fan, you dabble in horse racing a little bit. This will be great for you. It's our DRF AI component. You can ask it any questions. For me, Scott, I'm generally looking for prices. So what I like to do is I will ask this, hey, in the Woodbine pick six sequence, can you find me a couple 10-to-1 shots in each race that look live? And it'll isolate a couple horses for me to take a look at. Saves me some time, saves me some work, Scott, because there's a lot of it to be done on these big Saturdays and Sundays like this weekend as we head on out to Woodbine. We actually have a father and a son riding against each other in the numbers 1 and 2 for the first time ever. How cool. Aboard Mancetti, we have Pietro Moran, and then aboard the number 2, William T. It's David Moran. First time we've ever seen this happen, which is just an incredible feat. Let's talk about those two horses down on the inside, Scott. They're both coming off victories. Mancetti's coming off a grade 3 win in the Marine, and William T comes off of a really big performance where he finally broke his maiden and put it all together. Any thoughts on those two down inside?
Well, I think William T, big step up in class, got the right trip, took advantage of it with a combination of Lasix and blinkers. He would be a big surprise. Great story, though, with the two riders. And Mancetti, I think, is going to be a pace factor, if nothing else. He has to go at a mile and a quarter down on the inside.
I think the notorious B.I.G. talked about mo money, mo problems, Scott, but I don't think the connections of Notorious Gangster would be having a problem with winning the King's Plate this weekend. And this one feels like a very live contender.
Absolutely. I think this is a horse that has been campaigned specifically for this race. Josie Carroll obviously knows her way around the Woodbine scene, winning a lot of races again. This meet 6 for 6 in the money efforts over this surface. And, the mile and a quarter, a question for anyone, but should get a really good off the pace trip.
Why I had such a tough time handicapping this race, Scott, I probably could have done 2 sets of top 4 selections for this race because it is really challenging and there doesn't seem like there's any one particular standout. A lot of these horses look evenly matched on speed figures. I mean, a horse like Scorching has not run poorly in his last few races. He's just going to have to turn the tables and improve on some of his rivals.
Yeah, I mean, he's, a horse that has been there and I think has some talent, still learning a little bit. I don't think he wants to relax very well, and that could be his undoing in here.
Yeah, he wants to be forward. He'll likely be in the mix early. You have a horse like Mythical Man next up. He's actually been facing open company throughout his entire career, but his speed figures and some of his races just don't quite seem fast enough. He's also going to have to try this surface, a synthetic surface, for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, he was 5-1 against Zulu Kingdom last time. Zulu Kingdom obviously would be a big favorite if he was a Canadian bred in this race. So stalking the pace there and tiring, but like you said, has to get faster.
We get to Faber. He won the first start of his career. That was on the turf, but he's 0 for the last 8 since. He's kind of a grinder, Scott. Just kind of picks pieces up. They'll put the blinkers on, hoping to get him a little more focused in here.
Yeah, not in love with that blinkers on move for the biggest race of the career, but they're looking to find a little extra something. This would be one of the bigger surprises from the win end in terms of winning the race. Maybe picking up the pieces isn't as unlikely.
When you talk about wild cards in this race, I think that's the number 7 Runway again, because this horse has only raced one time, but it was one of those wow performances where this horse missed the break, was last, came from way out of it. And when he hit the front, Scott, you sort of felt like, okay, he's tired now. He's going to stop. And then he kicked into another gear and poured it on. So this is a lot to ask in just his second start in a big field, but he certainly has some ability.
He does. Keep in mind the 1-2 favorite who finished third in that race, Trip Aces, is now 0 for 8. This is a much softer group. This horse didn't take money. trip aces did. So I don't necessarily know. Maybe this horse surprised them, which is obviously a positive. But it's tough when you break slow. You don't really in these types of races on debut and come with a big run. You don't really get a lot of racing type experience. The talent is obviously there, and I hate to talk anybody off a 12-1 shot with upside, but he seems really up against it.
You have to make sure if you like him, you get the 10 to 12 to 1 or above. You do not want to take a short price on a horse like that because you just have to be rewarded in price because he has a lot to overcome against a field like this. Scott, we move to Daywolf. I mean, you don't see a jockey like Flavian Pratt aboard horses 30 to 1 all too often, but he's listed on this one here. I just had a hard time building a case for this particular horse to turn the tables on a lot of the rivals that have beaten him recently.
Seems like he's maybe better at one turn based on, or just matured earlier, one or the other. Did have a 3 wide trip into that first turn in the plate trial. I think he should get a good trip to your point about Pratt, but is he good enough third off the layoff?
Watsonville is a horse who I could see using at the bottom of my exotics. I'd have a hard time getting to him on the win end. He's kind of a grinder, and I didn't mind his last effort where he had to go kind of way to the outside, but he just seems like he has no early speed, and he's going to be way behind a lot of this field.
If you think the pace is going to be hot, this is a horse you don't want to get beat by for fourth, maybe even third to your point, Gino, but he is very much up against it to win this race.
Couple major contenders coming up all in a row now with the number 10 No Time. She won the Woodbine Oaks, and I think you'd have to put her right at the top, Scott, with the top tier contenders in this race. She had a really nice performance. She was just traveling well in that race. She looked like a winner almost all the way around the track, and now she'll face the boys. But in this particular race, the fillies have competed and done very well through the years against the boys. Mark Casse has won this race with fillies before, previously, 2 different times. Talked with him just a few weeks ago about Lexi Lou when she won this race, and Dan Loisel was screaming her name and the rafters were shaking. So this feels like one of the horses to beat if she's able to just come back with that same effort she had when she won the Woodbine Oaks.
Yeah, she's done her best running for the most part on the lead, but showed the ability to beat her own gender, coming from off the pace in the Woodbine Oaks. Johnny V's aboard. I would expect to be ridden as aggressively as possible. Fourth off the layoff, 7-2 on the line. Probably too short for me, but obviously wouldn't surprise.
Agree. I want a little bit more in this race. I think a horse like Tom's Magic is interesting. You can make cases for lots of different horses in here, Scott. While this horse has never been on the synthetic, his form has been very good on the turf, and he's faced horses overall that are probably tougher and just more competitive on the on his resume. Now he will probably get hooked a little bit wide, and he has to show us if he really wants to get this distance and get this trip. But he's certainly, I think, a horse who's not far off on class with this group. It'll just come down to, does he take to the synthetic surface?
Right. The surface switch is the question. All 5 starts on turf. The positive has been facing open company. Now gets to face fellow Canadian breds.
Sedberry's Ghost won the local prep race for this. It's called the plate trial. So you see a lot of horses run in that race to try to get qualified and to see if they'll fit in this one. And it was a pretty good performance. I really don't have too many knocks on this horse's overall form, Scott.
No, he should come with a strong run again and should get a good trip. The question is the outside draw here. He did get the jump on Notorious Gangster last out.
Yes.
Both of them, it was a kind of a compact group, but the jump seemed to be the key. I could see the tides turning here, especially with the outside draw for Sedberry's Ghost.
Yeah, and then on June 28th, it was like he was kind of stuck in between, and he didn't get to move until a little bit later. We round things out with Ashley's Archer. He comes off a second place finish last time out, but this will be a little bit tougher than what he's been facing for top trainer Mark Casse.
Speed from the gate last time. He's drawn to the far, far outside. Those Ashley names horses that are tough, but I think this is going to be a tough trip for him to overcome.
And we finished up. We will round out the field now and take a look at selections. It's the first leg of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown. Scott is going to go with the 3, 3, 12, 10, 8. I'm going to go with the 11, 11, 7, 10, 12. I put Tom's Magic on top. Scott's going to go with the Notorious Gangster. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we stick at Woodbine for some graded stakes action.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
He said that was his decision, not a smart baseball play. Like, shut up, Dave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really. If Ohtani wants to steal third base on his own, let him steal third base on his own, bro. Like, he's Shohei Ohtani. He made the call. He was wrong. He was out. Okay. I wouldn't have called him out for it.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Multiple times on 18 today. It was just so wild. I mean, the distances, JJ hit it to the exact same spot. He had 30 feet, 36 feet, and 30 feet, and made the second playoff hole, the 30-footer there. And then they go to recut the hole,
which I like. I like that, by the way.
Oh, I thought it was great, but I'm like, dude, he might hole out from the fairway. Like, he cut the hole where he's hit every single approach shot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
What would you tell the people right now, though? Like, okay, I like the Rams heading into the season, but I'm not sure about Matthew Stafford because people want to get their bets in. People want their team totals. People want to bet week number 1 here. So what's your prognosis on the Rams? We'll talk long-term in a second. Week number 1. Are we just going to say, like, yeah, he's ready. Bullets are flying. He looks great out there because he is a tough dude. But again, a back injury for a quarterback trying to get all that torque on passes, usually not good.
The Early Line, only on...
Welcome back to the Daily Racing Form weekend preview. We're going to stick up at Woodbine for our focus this weekend. We'll go a little out of order, Scott. Try to put the order of the races that have bigger fields and just a little bit more to talk about. And this race, which is going to be race number 10 on Saturday at Woodbine, is the Grade 2 King Edward. It's a mile on the turf course up there. And this is the race that's kind of for the local horses. A lot of the horses at Woodbine who are in really nice form, who get to step up and face Graded Stakes Company here. I think we can kick things off from the inside with Piper's Factor, going a mile on the turf. 2 starts back was going a mile and a 16th, showed speed. Last time out was going 7 furlongs. I think he should be forwardly placed, but he got a pretty good trip in his last race, Scott, and the winner of that one, Cruden Bay, just blew right on by him. I think he can be part of the pace, but I'm not sure if he's good enough to hang around for a piece.
Yeah, I would think he's going to be forward as well. The one thing I'd put in his corner to give him maybe a chance to move forward here is I do think he might be better at 2 turns instead of 1. Yep. I also think he might be better with being a little more forward. He got a good trip for overall from a macro level, but I don't know if that's the way he wants to win races.
Great point. Some horses are particular if they want to be on the lead. They don't necessarily do as well coming from off. Passing horses, kind of flipping the switch on and off when they have to change gears. We move to the number 2, Twin City, who won going 7 furlongs on the synthetic. That was back in May, and is a stakes winner on the synthetic. And that's when you're reading this horse and kind of evaluating him, it's sort of tough because most of his work has been on the synthetic. He just hasn't really been quite as good on the turf.
Yeah, it looks like he's a cut below, and you combine that with this not being his preferred surface. Understandable why trainer Stuart Simon and the connections would want to take a shot at Grade 2, $200,000 when they get a chance to. But I think 20-1 on the morning line tells the story.
There's a couple really sharp horses in this race. One of them is Cruden Bay. This horse is 18 for 24 in the top 3. He's won 3 of his last 4. He's won 4 of his last 6. He's a multiple graded stakes winner. And the race that we're watching here, Scott, this was after an 11-plus month layoff. So he should probably be even better than this race, a little bit sharper if he got some fitness out of this. He's just a pretty cool horse. He's tough to knock. My only real concern with him is his running style. He sometimes has to come from a little far out of it. And, you know, that could be the difference between winning and losing in a competitive race. But you sort of know what you're going to get from him. He usually always shows up with that bid.
It's pretty impressive, though, that he has 8 wins in 9 seconds with the running style
Exactly.
he has. I thought he ran it. I mean, you said it. The effort off the bench was impressive for a 7-year-old, especially. It's hard for me to not think he has a massive shot in here. Race shape obviously going to play a major role, but he's serious.
Wyoming Bill is a lightly raced 4-year-old. He's going to step up into stakes company. He came from off the pace and came running late. Feels maybe like another one who can come from off the pace if they go quick early.
Yeah, just a two-time winner. This is a big step up in class. Does enter this spot in the best form of his career and does seem to have found a home going 2 turns over the turf course. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one that maybe can get a piece. You got the veteran Jose Lezcano taking the call for the first time.
Another one of those really sharp horses in here is the number 5, Dresden Rowe. In his 12 starts, he's never been worse than third, so he has not been out of the money in any of them. He's probably a little bit better on synthetic because he has not won on the grass yet, Scott, but I think he has the ability to run a little bit better on turf. I don't necessarily think it's surface that's been the issue for him. He's just a really sharp, cool horse overall. He can sit pretty close. He's got some versatility. I don't have many knocks on him. Perhaps just the price, because he's going to be one of the shorter prices in here.
Right. I mean, you look at his past performances and it pops out to you that he just always runs his race. He's hit the board in 12 of 12. You mentioned it, though. No wins on the turf, 0 for 3. All of those starts over this course. He was shuffled back a bit in that last start, and the winner was a sweet delivery, got the jump and ran a 97 buyer in victory. So I wouldn't knock him for that race. The surface switch back over to turf and the price of the questions.
We move to Lucky Score. This one is a multiple graded stakes winner sprinting. He actually has a couple pretty good races at a mile, but he just hasn't been in his top form since about 2 years ago. And overall, his best races seem to be going shorter. He's also not that quick early on. So I kind of have a couple issues with him in this spot, Scott.
Yeah, not the same horse as he once was, and he's a 7-year-old. You don't expect him to find that form. He's going to be way out of it. I think this is just Mark Casse taking a shot on a big day.
Mason's Gamble was a winner in his last start, going 6.5 furlongs, but that was his first win in 15 starts. So can this 7-year-old now put back-to-back races together and step up against graded stakes company?
I think this is a horse that, we saw his best effort was coming from way out of it in a one-turn race. Moving up in class, stretching out as an off-the-pace horse. These are not my style. I doubt he's going to be too many other people's style either.
This next horse felt like one of the horses, if you're looking to bet this race, that was interesting to me, and that's Gas Me Up. Curious what kind of price he ends up with Flavien Prat aboard. I do feel like a couple in here will take more money than him. So if you're getting like 5-ish to 1, I think that's fair. I probably don't want to take like 7 to 2 or less than that on him, Scott, but he comes off of a really nice win. He's lightly raced, and he seems like he has a couple excuses for some of the poor performances.
Yeah, he's not impossible. I think, it's good, very positive that he's able to finally put races back to back. He came back off a long layoff, won a race, and then he was on the bench for almost another year.
We move to public sector. This guy won 5 of his first 9 races. He was in the Chad Brown barn, but we're talking back in 2021, Scott. Since then, he's just won for his last 23. Now, the positive, that win did come here at Woodbine over the turf course, but he just hasn't seemed like the same horse recently.
No, you can tell by the name it's a Klarovich Chad Brown horse, but not for a long time, like you said. Another one that seems very much up against it, especially with the outside draw.
Well, here's another one of those really cool Woodbine horses that is a local horse, and that's just Sharp. War Strategy is 15 for 19 in the money. He just always shows up with a good performance. He's drawn towards the outside, and if you're looking at the projector, Scott, they have War Strategy, the 10, and the number 1, Piper's Factor, as the 2 horses that'll probably be the fastest early. So I think this is a horse who's a player who's definitely part of the early pace and who could at least hang around for a piece.
He's honest as they come, like you said, but the far outside draw and the stretch out to 2 turns are big questions for me at 4 to 1.
As we move to selections, Scott, I thought that Cruden Bay and Dresden Road were probably the 2 horses to beat. Maybe you could find some value looking elsewhere. So I put the 8 Gas Me Up as a horse to maybe bet if I can get 5 to 1 or above. But you sort of agree that the 3 and the 5 look like the real horses to beat in here.
Yeah, not a fun thing to come up with, but I think it looks like a 2-horse race between the 2 favorites.
That was the Grade 2 King Edward, but don't go anywhere. We may have one of the best fillies in training coming up next when we return to preview the EP Taylor.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Justin Rose has done it so many times in his career. That's like he's so good at everything. There's nothing that he's bad at. Every part of his game is at close to a elite level when it's good. And so when he had it going on this week, he's not scared, dude. When he gets that look in his eye, watch out.
The Smiley Show, only on
If you don't like getting hit, you can't do BKFC point blank.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the MMA world, you have opportunities to negate getting hit more so than BKFC. You can get a takedown, you can secure a dominant position where you're less likely to get hit, and even if you are getting hit, you're less damaging because of your position.
Combat Sports Report, only on SportsGrid.
For our final segment, we're going to go back in time a little bit to race number 7. Scott, this is a classy group of fillies and mares, and in particular, one very, very classy filly in here. She Feels Pretty. That was not supposed to be running in this race, but was kind of a late addition. So on paper, maybe it won't be the best betting race if she wins the race, but she's a very talented filly, and she'll face some others in this grade 1, the EP Taylor. We start things out with the number 1, Venetia. I think she's kind of an under horse, Scott. I'm actually a little bit interested to see her get a chance to run a little bit longer and to go 1.25 miles, because she does seem like she does her some of her best running very late in race. And in the particular race we're watching, she didn't win, and her rival Ready for Sherrill did. But you'll notice that Venetia was actually kind of getting to the rival late, and I thought galloped out pretty well in here. So she does like to settle for minor awards. But if you took She Feels Pretty out of this race, both of these horses, Venetia and Ready for Sherrill, would become much bigger contenders. The rest of the field is kind of evenly matched, I think, once you get beyond She Feels Pretty.
Yeah, she was beaten by Ready for Sherrill last time, but had a little bit of a better trip. So I don't think the 12-1 versus 7-2 morning line price is very fair. That said, this is a mare that was supposed to be good a long time ago, and really has not come into hand. New trainer. The added ground maybe works, but Chad Brown kind of knows what he's doing and never tried it.
We move to Literate. This is a grade 3 winner on the synthetic. She's traded decisions with Caitlin Her Greatness in the last couple. I wonder if she's quite as good on grass. It seems like her connections just think she's better on the synthetic because that's where she's run most of her races. But I want to give her credit for her last start because Caitlin Her Greatness got a pretty good trip. And Literate just ran right by her and was better there. But again, that was on a different surface.
Yeah, she just finishes so much better over the all-weather than the turf. Again, you understand why connections that are, have the horse up there move to the turf in situations like this. But I'd be surprised if we see her best effort. And again, the morning line kind of tells that.
Diamond Rain goes out for trainer Charles Appleby, who a couple years ago, Scott, was winning so many graded stakes races like this. He's quieted down over the last year or so. It didn't have as many running as he did before, but this filly fits pretty well in here. She's lightly raced. She has 2 poor performances and 4 wins in her 6 races, and the 2 poor races come followed by layoffs, so you could probably make excuses for the poor races there. I watched her replay over at Newcastle. She's not that fast early on. She came from the back of the pack, but she quickly kind of swooped the field when they tipped her to the outside, so I think she has some talent.
Charles Appleby, last 5 years, he's 7 for 12 at Woodbine, kind of to your point, Gino. But in 2024, he bought 3 over. They were all short prices, and he went 0 for 3. This is a filly that obviously can get the distance and has the right rider coming in. She's a wild card, so you want to make sure you get the right price.
She Feels Pretty is the next one up. She is a multiple grade 1 winner. She lost her most recent race. She finished second, but she actually earned a best career speed figure based on the buyers that the daily racing form uses. So it wasn't a poor performance, even in defeat, Scott. And if you look at the last couple races, she's had to deal with different turf courses, different styles of turf courses, because there was some bad weather over at Saratoga. So those weren't the normal firm turf courses she was running on. She's actually been a grade 1 winner at the highest level at the age of 2, at the age of 3, and at the age of 4. And one of those wins was right here over this turf course at Woodbine. As a gambler, we want to try to poke holes in horses like this. I just had a hard time doing it.
Yeah, very well spotted by Cherie DeVaux, who continues to manage this filly very well. 7 for 11. I thought the blinkers were not a great sign in the QE2 Cup. That was a monster effort, and she's really done very little wrong since. She looks like the clear one to beat, and I'm not telling you much.
Caitlin Her Greatness, the number 5, actually won the King's Plate last year. This is a filly who beat the boys. Scott, she looks like one of the quicker horses early in this race. You can see the projector has her out front. I could see jockey Flavian Pratt trying to maybe get aggressive early on with her, and that's something that he does very well.
Yeah, this is her best chance to win, and I think she's interesting. Not a ton of speed. She's better over the all-weather throughout her career, but she does have a win and a third in 3 starts over the turf. I like Pratt being aboard. You know he's going to be prepared.
Hurricane Claire had a big wake-up effort last time out. It was a career best effort, and I think she will be forwardly placed in here, probably one of the early speeds.
Yeah, she's up against it from a class perspective. She'll try to make the lead. Maybe she's not fast enough at her class level, but I understand why they're giving her a shot.
3 straight really good races from Ready for Sherrill, capped off by a win in the Grade 2 Canadian. Just seems like a 4-year-old filly who's moving in the right direction. And once you get beyond She Feels Pretty, this one's right at the top of the list of contenders.
She is. I think she's going to get bet like it. I think she kind of fits better in that second tier with a couple of other fillies. So I'm going to try to beat her. I think she got the right trip last time out to win the Canadian.
Wish we could be a little more creative for you on this one, but we're both going to be putting the top selection as the heavy favorite. She Feels Pretty. I'll see if we can get a little value with Venetia in some of the under spots, but 4-3-1-7 for me, 4-5-3-7 for Scott. Remember, as you're playing the races this weekend all over, check out DRF AI at chat.drf.com. We'll see you again next week.
This moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay, a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that place higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bet.
Pro baseball today.